Once in Nigeria, there was a famous boarding school called Starlight Girls Academy. It had big gates and wide green fields, a place where students learned and made dreams come true. Two best friends, Ada and Chidinma. Ada was 18 years old, while Chidinma was 19 years old, and they attended the same boarding school in Lagos. They were both in SS2. Ada loved studying and wanted to become a lawyer. Chidinma, with her bubbly laughter, dreamed of being a fashion designer. Ada's parents had died a couple of years before she started secondary, and she lived with her uncle, Sir Joe, in Enugu. And sending her to a boarding school was the best way to relieve him of always looking after her. Ada was only given provisions and money once per term. She never had visits from anybody until it was midterm break or when the term was closed. On the other hand, Chidinma's parents were into business in Port Harcourt, selling designer wares and bags. At a young age, Chidinma had all she ever wanted, but she always aspired for adventure. Rumors spread through Starlight Girls Academy about students sneaking out at night. The idea of climbing the tall fence and seeing the world outside intrigued many, especially Chidinma. She often spoke about the city lights and the adventures that awaited beyond the fence. Ada, though curious, focused more on her studies. One warm evening, Chidinma woke Ada. Ada, tonight we will discover what's beyond the fence. Ada was worried. What if we get caught? Chidinma grinned. Life's short, Ada. If nothing else, we will have a great story to share. Are we going to wear our uniforms? Ada asked. No, I got you covered, my friend. With a mix of excitement and fear, Ada agreed. Quietly, they dressed in dark clothes and left their dorm. Their hearts raced as they approached the fence, with a stack of old wooden crates nearby, perfect for climbing. Once over the fence, the bustling nightlife of the nearby city awaited them. The streets were alive with music and laughter, a world so different from what they knew. They found themselves at a lively club, the lights flashing and music booming. Chidinma danced to the rhythm while Ada watched, amazed by the energy. In the club, they met Lola, a woman whose presence was impossible to ignore. Older and glamorous, Lola noticed Ada and Chidinma. She nodded approvingly. New explorers, I see. What brings you to this side of the night? We wanted an adventure, Chidinma replied confidently. Lola smiled. Adventure is good, but remember, not everything is what it seems. You ladies should have fun. They ordered for soft drinks and started feasting their eyes on what was going on in the club. Chidinma was curious to go on the dance floor, while Ada was quiet and looking shy. She has never been to the club before. It was noisy and definitely not her kind of place, but she couldn't do anything about it because her friend Chidinma was loving it here. The atmosphere grew electric as Chidinma's eyes sparkled with excitement. Ada, let's go dance, she urged, pulling her friend towards the thrumming crowd. Ada hesitated, but Chidinma's infectious energy soon swept her along. Amidst the music and flashing lights, Ada tried to shake off her fears, momentarily caught in the thrill of the night. As they danced, the boys from the VIP section, particularly a charming one named Tunde, he noticed them. He sauntered over, his smile disarming. What brings two beautiful girls such as yourselves out here? He asked, his voice smooth. Chidinma twirled and laughed, looking for adventure. Tunde raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Well, you're in the right place. Come, let me show you the real nightlife. His friends beckoned, and before Ada could voice her concerns, Chidinma had already accepted the invitation. Reluctantly, they followed, drawn into the allure of the unknown. After some time, they found themselves in a more private area of the club where drinks flowed and laughter echoed. Tunde and his friends brought out expensive liquor and offered it to the girls. Initially, Ada resisted, but Chidinma encouraged her to join in. Just a sip, Ada. It's all part of the adventure. Eventually, Ada relented, taking a small drink. The warmth of the alcohol mixed with the exhilaration of the night, clouding our judgment. Hours passed, and the thrill turned darker as Tunde suggested moving to a nearby apartment for more fun. Chidinma, enamored by the idea and their attention, didn't hesitate. Ada, however, felt a twinge of unease. "Maybe we should go back," she said, her voice shaky. Chidinma laughed it off. "Don't be such a bore. This is our night." With the persuasive charm of her friend and the intoxication of the adventure, Ada decided to stay. What began as laughter and dancing slowly morphed into something more sinister. The apartment was filled with more people, and as the night progressed, Ada's discomfort grew. She felt isolated, watching as Chidinma seemed to lose herself in the chaotic atmosphere. Suddenly, things took a dark turn when a fight broke out between some guests. Chairs flew and chaos erupted. In the pandemonium, Ada lost sight of Chidinma. Panic set in as she searched frantically, her heart racing anew as she pushed through the crowd. Finally, she found a friend in a corner, being cornered by a group of men. The scene was chilling. Chidinma's laughter had twisted into fearful cries. Ada rushed forward, grabbing Chidinma's arm. "We have to go, now." But as they turned to leave, Tunde blocked their path. "Where are you going? The night is just getting started." His voice was no longer charming. In desperation, Ada yelled for help, pulling Chidinma away from the group. They dashed through the broken laughter and fighting, the heavy thud of chaos following them. They slipped out, barely making it back to the street, where the night air hit them like cold water. Once outside, Ada and Chidinma gasped for breath, the gravity of the adventure crashing down as reality set in. They hurried back to the academy, terrified and exhilarated. But relief washed over them as they finally made it through the jumping fence back into school. Yet, as they neared their dorm, Ada sensed something was wrong. Panic seized her heart. In their haste and underestimating the dangers, they had returned too late. The headmistress had been alerted and was waiting, her face set with disappointment. "You've put yourselves at risk, and your actions have consequences," she began, her voice stern. But amid the chastisement, they were oblivious to the fact that the repercussions of their misadventure were for deeper. Days later, as things settled, the news hit like a thunderstorm. The girl from their year had gone missing after a night out, her body found in a nearby alley. The rumor train traced her last moment back to the same club, to the same chaos that Ada and Chidinma had narrowly escaped. They had played with the edge of darkness and the thrill of adventure, but the tragedy of what could have happened haunted them. Chidinma spiraled into despair, plagued by guilt for not hearing Ada's fears, feeling responsible for their reckless night. Ada, once hopeful, was now a shadow of herself, existing in fear of the world beyond the school gates. The tragedy of their night out taught a haunting lesson that some adventures come with unforeseen consequences, and the desire to explore must not overshadow the importance of safety and responsibility.